Hi, I'm Deborah Roth from Spirited Living, and I am here with the next installment of my year-long series with the Wellness Universe entitled, What's Your JQ? Embracing Joy as a Core Life Skill. Before I even jump into the next episode of that, definitely, if you're watching this on the Wellness Universe, then go in and check out all of the other wonderful offerings there. If you're not, if you're watching this video for the first time on YouTube, then please go to thewellnessuniverse.com and check out all the many offerings there. Wonderful practitioners. It's a great place if you have things to offer, but also if you just want some fabulous classes and meditations, and the list is endless of the things you can find there to support yourself to a path to wholeness of mind, body, heart, and spirit. So this month we are looking at the many different kinds of intelligence. I've been focusing, obviously, this whole series is about focusing on joy intelligence, which is kind of a newly developing concept through the organization that I'm involved with, Joyly. And it's definitely one that can bring up stuff for people, because we can't live in joy all the time. But the key piece to remember is that there is this core within us, this core life skill, this kernel of joy that exists in all of us. And as I'm talking about this month, in every different type of intelligence that you very likely have heard of before now, like emotional intelligence, conversational intelligence, social intelligence, positive intelligence, something that I have written and spoken and done videos about for a while now on my YouTube channel, and soul intelligence. And that might be a new concept for you. So I want to take you through briefly these intelligences, and I'll give more detail about them in the blog that's on the Wellness Universe site, but also on the description of my YouTube channel, just to kind of give you a sense of where we're coming from. So, and why I believe, and Joyly believes, that the element of joy is in all of these different intelligences. Joy is the foundation of these other intelligences that we have heard about before. So, and I'm learning this as we go. So if I'm looking down, it's because I'm checking out some of my notes. So emotional intelligence, probably the one other than IQ, other than intellectual intelligence. The Q is for quotient, your intellectual intelligence quotient. It gets narrowed down to just IQ, and likewise to EQ. The concept was really developed by Daniel Goleman, and the whole idea with that is that the framework emphasizes the importance of self-awareness, of self-regulation, of empathy, of motivation, and social skills. And to be able to embrace all of those, you really need to pull in joy into each one of those aspects. And again, I'm not going to go into great detail because I want to get through all of them and still have time for a chair of joy, which, if you've been following the series, you know that I try to do this foundational tool, this exercise, this experience, meditation, whatever you want to call it, that I outlined in the second in this series of called the Chair of Joy. So emotional intelligence, very brief look at it. Social and conversational intelligence, I'm kind of putting in the same bucket, but they have different aspects to them. But they are all about joy in connection. So social intelligence was one that I hadn't heard a whole lot of. It was first developed like back in the 1920s by Edward Thompson. And today we can say that in social gatherings, it's your ability to kind of read the room, I guess is the best way to put it. That we can look at understand and monitor what we're seeing body language wise, tone of voice, all of that. And it fits into any social context that you're in. Likewise, and the other type of intelligence that I put in this connection bucket, if you will, is conversational intelligence, which is another one that can be used across different situations. Judith Glaser is the one who really developed this idea of conversational intelligence. Wonderful book that I'll put in the blog and in the YouTube description. And she offered it as an outline for how to manage yourself at work. Now, I'm a couples counselor. I'm a couples coach, among other things, in addition to a joy warrior. And I can tell you that all of it, that so many of the things that she highlights in her book, and that you'll find in the whole framework of conversational intelligence, are super helpful when it comes to couples or to any personal interaction, not just a work interaction. And of course, if we have the ability, if we're able to capture a kernel of joy in any of those, we may not even call it that. That may not be the language or the vocabulary we use in a work situation, but it definitely helps us to transform and engage and navigate all of our relationships with people, both personally and professionally. Positive intelligence, as I said, that's one that's near and dear to my heart. I trained as a positive intelligence coach, a mental fitness coach, and positive intelligence was started by Shirzad Khameen, developed this amazing coaching program. If you're a coach, check it out. You can go through the 6-week program for free. You can find out more about it on my website. And it's really about how we shift our mindset. We talk about mental fitness and how we can shift it towards, in the PQ language, they talk about it being your sage brain as opposed to your saboteurs. I say in the sage brain is where joy lives. And so the kernel, that essence of joy, must be present whenever we're talking about shifting our mindset, as we do in positive intelligence. The next intelligence, the last one that I'll highlight here, is what you could call soul intelligence. And that's really about taking the concept of intelligence beyond the mind, beyond PQ, beyond the emotions, beyond EQ, and really connecting to our deeper spiritual self. And joy in that context really brings us back to the core of who we are, to our essence, to our soul, to what I call in a book that I wrote years ago, our circle of one, the essence of who we are. So that's just a little glimmer of soul intelligence. So all of these types of intelligence that I've outlined here, EQ, CQ, I guess that would be conversational intelligence, social intelligence, PQ, positive intelligence, and soul intelligence, really all take the idea that the thread that runs through all of them is this commitment to joy that runs through all of these facets of intelligence. And it really is when we bring joy into any of those modalities, any of those practices, it really becomes a way for us to measure a life well lived. So that's a brief overview on 8 minutes or less, something like that. I would love to just very briefly take you through a chair of joy. I don't know how, I'm just going to see what comes out. I don't know how directly it'll be connected to the different types of intelligence, but I will take you through the 4 steps of the chair of joy: sit, breathe, think, feel. And in the second of this series, you can read and hear more about those. So I invite you just to settle in wherever you're at, on your chair, your office chair, or maybe you're watching or reading this somewhere else, and just imagine yourself sitting in a favorite chair. It may be the one that you're sitting in because you love the work that you do, or you love writing or being on a Zoom call with your grandkids or something. But settle into a favorite chair. And as you do, just breathe. We'll breathe together. Inhaling and outhailing, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. And continuing to breathe, I invite you now to just let bubble up in your being a memory of joy, a moment of joy, sometime maybe in the last week, maybe from your childhood. Maybe there's a future moment of joy that you want to envision, but call that up now. Whatever it is, and allow yourself to create that or recreate it if it was in the past. viscerally, so that you feel that moment, everything you were feeling in that moment, and really develop and let it really embrace all of your beautiful senses. What do you smell? What do you hear? Is there anything that you're eating? And then hold that memory. And now really in your head, or you can even say them out loud, what are the feelings that are associated with that moment, with that memory? And feel them almost at a pool at the bottom of your feet and kind of trickling up, washing up through your body, so that you're recreating all of those feelings again. And then you can just put your hands on your heart, hold all those feelings there that you experienced back in that moment. And how are you feeling now? Are you feeling more emotionally intelligent? You don't have to relate it to one of the intelligences, but embrace that feeling and know that those feelings, that moment of joy, and know that you can return there whenever you want. Thanks for being with me today.